Hello. This is going to be a 5-part series on what the next Super Smash Bros. Game could be like, whenever that might release. Now Nintendo fans might be debating this topic of whether or not a new Super Smash Bros. Game will be made. My answer is, of course there will be. It's an integral part of Nintendo's hardware and software sales. For Sakurai to even express how he would question such decision is utterly mind-blowing. Nintendo and I need to discuss and seriously consider how to make it a success. You know what I would do if I were whoever was in charge at Nintendo? Give the job to somebody else. The first thing I would do if I were to propose another Smash Bros. Game is to get Sakurai away from it as far as possible. There are a handful of reasons why this is the right decision. Firstly, and most importantly, he constantly holds the product back from making it the most profitable product possible. Smash Bros. Ultimate managed to sell over 25 million copies, despite Sakurai, not because of Sakurai. It's painfully obvious at this point that he does not make decisions based on the interest of expanding his consumer base. The man is clearly out of touch with what's supposed to make his products a success, and he's just so fortunate that the Switch and its momentum was able to carry him. He'll spend Nintendo's hard-earned money to fulfill his own desires and then make excuses. Sora is not going to make back the costs it took to get him in the first place. It is not gonna happen. Having the next cookie-cutter Fire Emblem character as DLC isn't going to sell copies of Fire Emblem. It is not gonna happen, nor should another game be any of your business. If his goal was actually to create the world's largest JRPG orgy, he has certainly succeeded, but how does this motivate non-JRPG fans to buy the game? And let's not forget the previous game, in which his plan of making both the 3DS and Wii U rosters did nothing to help the Wii U at all. It's astonishing how he continues getting chance after chance. So I don't get why we can't consider another person that could easily do a better job. Reason number 2, the man constantly lies and makes excuses for his decisions. People need to start understanding that basically much of what he claims about his game and his dealings with other companies can easily be disputed. For example, Sakurai can give you any indication possible about Square Enix being the most demanding, most stingy company to work with by not having any sort of collection of items, assist trophies, spirits, and extensive music playlist. All you have to do to realize this man is fabricating is simply to look on Google for games that feature Square Enix's content. It's really insulting how he expects his consumers to not even question these things. So I'd rather have a director that can be more transparent. For that matter, reason number 3, I'd rather have a director that stays behind the scenes and doesn't try to be bigger than his own product. Just like Tony Khan that runs AEW, Sakurai's public obnoxiousness can make fans turn against him and his product. For fans who may be looking to buy Smash Bros. And see this guy's face plastered everywhere, and fans treating him like a king or god can be really off-putting. They don't want to join a cult, they want to buy and enjoy a product. Reason number 4, he's not the creative genius he says he is. When you look at Ultimate, he hasn't done anything that's really innovative or engaging. I made videos like this one before Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was even announced talking about some neat concepts for game modes or features, and they didn't happen. I'm not going to knock Sakurai for not doing them, but some of these concepts later found their way in similar games like Multiversus. What did Super Smash Bros. Ultimate have instead? Echo Fighters, Spirits, a board-like single-player mode. I'm fine with all these things, but I don't see them as groundbreaking. If they're not poorly executed ideas, they were just borrowed from previous Smash Bros. Games as more watered-down content. We've seen quite a devolution of features from each passing game, and that's quite disappointing considering each project is supposed to gradually get more teams working on it. Therefore, I don't really have confidence in this guy to make a game that's going to reverse this dwindling trend. As for gameplay mechanics, there isn't anything that stands out as new or innovative that isn't just making a character up, like Violet's final Smash Arrow. People are going to pressure me by asking, if Sakurai isn't the director, then who would the director be? Quite frankly, we don't need a celebrity for a director. Think of all the great games you may have played over the past decade. Do you know who produced or directed those games? No. For the most part, a director is a behind-the-scenes role, so while I'm sure many directors in the gaming industry do a great job, they're not as outgoing like Sakurai, and that's okay. We don't need a celebrity working on a fighting game. So yeah, I don't have a particular name in mind, but that's why you interview potential candidates and hire the best of that group. We are long overdue for change, and that starts with the roster. Now, Sakurai claims that it's going to be impossible to have this many fighters and series represented again. This is yet one of his fabrications. If you can get the rights to a character once, you can certainly do so again. The question I ask is, why would you want to? There is just so much filler in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's roster, even among the third-party lineup, that the product could do very well without. I do understand that having all the characters come back was one of the major appeals in the game, but an argument can be made that you can spend time, money and resources elsewhere. I can also see how getting rid of character disappoint consumers that might happen to play as them frequently, but the goal here is not to please the fans that have always supported the product, because they'll always support the product. The goal is to make more of them. So, we shouldn't be focusing on quantity, we should be focusing on quality. We can still have a roster that's still pretty big, but there will just be more purpose to each character chosen. When considering a list of characters, the three things to look for is inclusivity, marketability, and timelessness. Inclusivity, no, this isn't me trying to make Smash Bros. A woke product with political ideologies. Instead, by having an inclusive approach, let's give ourselves the chance to make the roster diverse in the sense of gameplay, rather than it being replete with certain archetypes, like the so-called sorties. That means more zoners, more rush-down characters, more big men, etc. Next, of course, having a marketable roster should be extremely important, so that fans of other games would be willing to spend the money necessary to embrace their favorite characters as they battle it out with Mario and other all-stars. And of course, we want to have a timeless evergreen roster that can hold up well and attract new fans years after release, without getting outdated with last Tuesday characters that become more obsolete as time goes on. That doesn't mean that we'll do away with all the retro characters, as certain retro characters can also be timeless if they're still iconic or carry a legacy of their own, and some of these characters in Smash Bros. Happen to already. So, let's get started. Jigglypuff would be cut because she could serve a more fitting role in the game. Dr. Mario would be cut because he could simply be a skin of Mario. Pichu would be cut so the team could spend their resources to make another character. Falco would be cut because he is not all that different from Fox. Not all decisions are easy, and this was one of the tougher ones I had to make. Lucina would be cut because she is not all that different from Marth. Having a different sword tip simply does not justify a completely new character slot. Young Link would be cut so the team could spend their resources to make another character. Roy would be cut because once again, he is not worth keeping. Chrome would be cut for the same reason Roy would be not worth it for characters that neither have legacies or futures. Mr. Game & Watch would be cut because, for now, it's a secret. Dark Pit would be cut because he could simply be a skin of Pit. Zero Suit Samus would be cut because we don't need one character to take up 2 slots. Ike would be cut just like the other Fire Emblem characters. No legacy, no future, why invest time to bring him back? Lucas would be cut because he's not all that different from Ness. Wii Fit Trainer would be cut because she has very little appeal and is not worth keeping. Rosalina and Luma would be cut because her moveset just doesn't work, and she could serve a more fitting role in the game. Greninja would be cut so the team could spend their resources to make another character. Palutena would be cut because she could serve a more fitting role in the game. Robin would be cut because what's the point of keeping him? I can understand if players main him, but let's be real, they're not going to pass the next game if this character isn't there. Duck Hunt would be cut because they could serve a more fitting role in the game. Now we're getting in the third-party / DLC territory where the explanations will end up being more different than before. We are cutting Ken. Because he is not all that different from Ryu, and I'd rather have the resources go towards another character. This Echo Fighter concept is also lackluster. Corrin would be cut because there's no point in keeping him, just like the other Fire Emblem characters. Bayonetta would be cut because just like YE Fit Trainer, she's not marketable, and that's why it's taken so long for her to get a sequel. If you have to pay for a character, pick one that can draw money. Don't pick one that you wish could draw money, because they won't. It's like drafting a 7th round pick as your number 1 player overall, because you want that player to be a superstar caliber performer. That's not how this works. Richter would be cut because he's not all that different from Simon. Incineroar would be cut because, just like Mr. Game & Watch, it's a secret for now. Piranha Plant would be cut simply because he is not all that essential. Despite him being a Mario character, I do not see him as a high-priority Mario character. Joker would be cut because he wouldn't be evergreen by the time another Persona game would release. Maybe there's a chance that Joker's time in the spotlight could continue, but I just have my assurance that that won't be the case. I could definitely imagine Sakurai keep both Joker and introduce another Persona character, but at least in this alternate reality, thank God he's not here. Banjo and Kazooie would be cut because why would you want to put the spotlight on a rival company that makes their own gaming hardware? There is no upside to Banjo. None. There is no audience to gain. The beloved fans that clamored for him will still support the product without him, and it only helps Microsoft and gives them motivation to make a product that would cause you to buy an Xbox console. The decision never made sense and still doesn't. Byleth would be cut because he too would be another outdated character. I have the impression that there would be another Fire Emblem game, and in that case, what good is Byleth? Min Min would be cut so the team could spend their resources to make another character. Sephiroth would be cut because you simply don't need him. Cloud was your man that helped draw eyeballs among the Final Fantasy community, and anybody else is a waste of money. Now that the damage has been done, I would say what the hell, keep him in, but let's instead use the time and resources for another character that could better help the product. You don't need him, and you never did. Pyra and Mithra would be cut so the team could spend their resources to make another character. And finally, Sora. No explanation needed. So, in total, we have removed 32 characters, and including the Mii fighters, we are left with 54 still in the product. So in essence, close to 40% of the Smash Bros. Ultimate roster hasn't served a good purpose. I personally would not mind parting with any of them. I know cutting Jigglypuff is going to ruffle some feathers, I know I'm used to playing as Piranha Plant, but change is necessary. Even without 32 characters, though, this looks like a really strong roster. There are some oddball characters that are still apparently on this roster, and I'd like to explain them. Daisy and Dark Samus should easily be their own character, not just be a clone of another character. Ice Climbers I was on the fence with, but I left them in due to their uniqueness as a tandem character. Sheik was another sketchy character I thought about removing, but like the Ice Climbers, there wasn't that many speedy, lightweight brawler-type characters like her left on the roster. I know that Lucario is kind of stale, but I didn't want to remove too many Pokémon, since I know it's one of video gaming's biggest franchises. I kept Kazuya, even though he's not the most marketable Tekken character as of now. In Tekken 7, Heihachi is supposed to be killed, but there's always the chance that he can still be in future games in some form, just like the Joker in Injustice 2. If Heihachi was the character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, then I definitely want his return, no question. People would expect me getting rid of Steve, but why? Minecraft is a very successful game and Steve was definitely a huge get. And unlike Banjo, he's not Microsoft property, he's Mojang property, and that's a huge difference. Microsoft rightfully left Mojang the control over their own game that sold more than any of Microsoft's own IPs. I could easily remove the cause here like I removed Persona's Joker, but unlike Joker, Kazuya at least, is a staple character in the series, and the chances of him appearing in the next Tekken game are 99.9%. So for now, he's still here, but let's wait and see what happens. So, which characters would be added instead? Let me say right now that I do not have 32 slots. As I said before, let's focus on quality, not quantity. So, what's a good number to add? I have to keep in mind that there will always be the need to add more characters from Nintendo's Big 4 or Big 5, as in Nintendo's most successful IP. We can also pad the roster with several obscure characters that can offer something unique to the table. And of course, third-party characters can certainly help drive sales and attract new customers, but for this list, there won't be as many as some might hope. So I ended up with a total of 15 new characters. I think that's a decent amount, and whether or not that includes DLC, I don't really have such preference. So this brings the total number of fighters to 69, which is not bad at all. So, who would these 15 newcomers be? There will certainly be some surprises here and there. And to prevent viewers from just skimming through the preview bar, I won't be showing any images or gameplay footage. Anyone who's in the hardcore Smash community and feels so gutted about my views and so offensive if I object anything that the common Smash Brothers loyalist believes in, today is your lucky day. It's your lucky day. Here he is. Waluigi. Being a highly requested character doesn't matter, he's still a very well-known character for those that play various Super Mario games. And quite frankly, there's a lot of avenues you can go with him in terms of how he would perform in the game. Compared to the next Fire Emblem character, Waluigi is hands down a more successful and a more evergreen character. Technically, we have 2 Mario characters as newcomers. This second character has been around for over 20 years, but never was considered, likely due to the incapabilities of the Smash Bros. Engine. Hypothetically, this is why I would axe Mr. Game & Watch. So, this second character is Paper Mario. Much like Toon Link, Paper Mario is considered a truly different entity from the original Mario who has his own series, not like Dr. Mario. I feel as though Sakurai considers Dr. Mario a consolation for not being able to make Paper Mario possible. Choosing a different graphics engine can certainly make this possible, and if that means Mr. Game & Watch would not longer be possible, it's worth the change. Moving on to another successful Nintendo IP, The Legend of Zelda has not gotten a new character since Super Smash Bros. Brawl. There are a few candidates for a new Zelda character, but only one really stands out from the rest. That would be Impa. Having been a character referenced all the way back in the first Legend of Zelda game, inside the game's manual, Impa has taken on numerous forms, both young and old. She does have combat experience, and arguably the version of Impa I would go with is her appearance from Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. Since Greninja's no longer a character, I feel we've been in need of more ninja-like fighters. I'm aware that Sheik is quote, supposed to be the same race as Impa, but there are also some changes to pre-existing characters that I'd like to express in part of this series, so stay tuned for that. This may be yet another surprising character on this list, but I feel it is one that's most fitting of all the characters in this IP. And that is, with no regrets, Tom Nook. Now you might be asking 3 Animal Crossing characters might be overkill considering they're all very basic in terms of powers and capabilities. But nobody said that you can't think outside the box to make Nook stand out from Isabelle and the Villager. Being he sells furniture and collects debt, that would definitely make for a unique character with potential for innovation, most certainly. Mr. Resetti was the other character from Animal Crossing I have thought about. While he does brandish a pickaxe and can offer ground-based mechanics, I can't really picture him being fleshed out in terms of flexibility. Now we draw our attention to Pokémon, and we really have an underlying problem when it comes to this IP. Because yes, while Pokémon is one of the best-selling series in existence, the characters however become outdated once the next games are released, like Greninja, like Incineroar, like any starting Pokémon in its highest evolved form. But the thing to do would be to announce a Pokémon from the latest game, whatever that might be by the time this Smash Bros. Game would be in development. Even if the character would be replaced one game later, it's worth it to draw in fans of Pokémon. So, that's all the new characters from Nintendo's biggest IPs. Splatoon is also among these IPs, but unfortunately, I don't really picture an addition character that warrants a playable status in Super Smash Bros. Now, we can definitely update the pre-existing Inkling. And I'll certainly need to explain more later on in the series. Character number 6, believe it or not, it's a Fire Emblem character to be determined. Like Pokémon, make the newest main character, and then replace him in the next game. Just to clarify, I've never had a problem with Fire Emblem, I've been playing Fire Emblem since Radiant Dawn on the Wii. The problem with Fire Emblem is how Sakurai treats it like a major IP, when it clearly isn't. That doesn't mean it should get shafted entirely, though, just get rid of the characters that don't serve any purpose towards the benefit of the Smash Bros. Product. Marth, as well as a new character, is enough. We don't need 8. 2 is fine. This next fighter is a classic character. Now you can notice that Palutene is not on this roster, and I have a good reason for that. She is not marketable, she is as niche as they come. Additionally, she's considered a goddess with omnipotent capabilities, so it doesn't make sense to have her be human-sized when she could clearly crush any fighter with the palm of her hand. Now there is a character that not only more classic Kid Icarus players are fond of, but she is also not omnipotent, and that is Medusa. Not only is this one for the villain column, but she can also be a suitable replacement for Rosalina without the Luma mechanics. And for Pete's sake, do not let Susie from the Rugrats be her voice actor. So, this is the 8th character. It's merely a replacement of a cut character, and it might upset some people, but I have my reasons. And it's none other than Spring Man. Why Spring Man? Anything Sakurai said about Spring Man not being marketable and not being the main character is garbage. He's an all-rounder in the game, he's one of the first characters they revealed, he's on the box art. It doesn't matter if he doesn't happen to be the first Google image result if I type in his name. If we were to hold characters to that standard, then we should cut Joker, Robin, Cloud, and other characters for that reason. Truth be told, an ARMS character in Smash Bros. Could be a lot funner if Sakurai didn't try to imitate the stiff ARMS fighting style. If the character showed more personality, rather than throw a limb out on every single command, it would actually be more appealing to make a character like Spring Man, rather than resort to a character with one unique move like Min Min. So for number 9, we have Rex and Pyra. Not Pyra by herself, or transforming into Mithra. Why? Because the roster can use more tandem characters, and this pairing could actually work like Noob Saibot and Smoke from Mortal Kombat 11. I personally was not impressed by Mithra and Pyra, and it's basically an unoriginal way for Sakurai to include 2 waifus into one, without making the other into an echo fighter. I feel there are mechanics that can be explored that would be better implemented than Rosalina and Luma. And if Bayonetta can summon giant limbs, then Rex can have Pyra or Mithra. I'm tired of the excuses. For a new retro character, I had a choice between 3. The first was Takamaru, and unfortunately, because there are enough sword wielders already, Takamaru got the shaft. The second choice was Ray MK3, and while he seemed like a creative choice, I didn't want there to be 2 new characters that were similar in concept, the other being Spring Man. Oddly enough, this character or other characters from his game never got any spirits in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Who am I talking about? None other than fighter Hayabusa. He could make for a suitable timeless replacement over Incineroar, with more emphasis on grappling. Big, heavy and slow like Ganondorf, it may seem like a budget Mike Haggar, but at least he's a budget and would add more to the heavy fighter column. 5 characters left. Here, I'm going to leave this slot open to a mystery character from an IP we don't yet know about. It could be an action game, a shooter, an RPG, just a character from a new Nintendo IP that has yet to be revealed, and I'd think that it would at least be semi-successful. So, the last 4 characters are going to be third-party. I could have a long list of third-party characters that would make great additions to the game, but if I were to blow my load on so many characters, there wouldn't be as many to choose from for the next game after this. People are going to ask, well, how are you going to make lots of money with only 4 third-party characters? Sure, there are only 4 here, but they're 4 popular ones, 4 diverse ones, 4 marketable ones. Each character can certainly make their money back and more. For Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's DLC, you had some third-party characters that did not appeal to a broad amount of people, or they appealed to people you've won over already, so they don't make money. It's hard to make a return on investment, and that also eats away at the success that other characters possibly have drawn. So these 4 characters won't be wastes of money, they'll all be guaranteed to draw in more software and hardware sales, where that's how the product actually makes its money. And if Sakurai doesn't like these characters, then tough shit. About time he should realize he can't always get what you want. This first character is Ryu Hayabusa. Not the first Ryu, and not the first Hayabusa. But how is this character not in Super Smash Bros. Already? Having been an icon in gaming since the 80s, various Ninja Gaiden revivals and appearances in the Dead or Alive series. You can pull from various different games for moves and abilities, and there's enough for him to have 2 move sets that you can switch by pressing down B. Third to last character. Capcom's biggest IP as of now. I was conflicted with the number of characters you could go with. I have ultimately decided on Leon Kennedy. He's not the first main character, but any gamer is able to tell who that is from that bowl cut of his. Additionally, he happens to be the main character of the best Resident Evil games, most notably 2 and 4. If you feel uneasy about the concept of a character that doesn't use a sword or magic, then you're not a creative person. The goal here is to draw in Resident Evil fans, not flatter Sakurai. The 14th character. A pioneer in gaming, and yet another long overdue entry, Lara Croft. Why? The better question is, why not? What is a good reason to not consider a character that is marketable enough for movies, Netflix series, and appearances in other games like Brawlhalla, Ghost Recon Breakpoint and Fortnite? Aside from Final Fantasy, Tomb Raider is the second most important IP throughout Square Enix's entire history. And with a slew of different versions, there's a whole bunch of source material you can pull from. I'd certainly rather have a woman that can climb, use guns and work with contemporary objects, rather than the umpteenth RPG character with swords and magic. We've now come down to the last character, and it belongs to the best-selling series in its genre. And this character is Scorpion. And I can certainly anticipate a bunch of raised eyebrows because there's already a ninja character as DLC, and Mortal Kombat is practically the only major fighting game that is yet to be represented in Smash Bros. Fair points. The thing is, though, he is perhaps one of the biggest and longest-lasting video game characters from the West. While Assassin's Creed has amassed far more copies sold, there is not one character that is evergreen. So yeah, Scorpion. He's always been popular worldwide, he does not age, and he has a great moveset potential to boot. So that's the roster. 69 fighters, thought about who to add, who to cut, and just who to not consider. There were many characters, some of which I personally would like to have, such as Ray MK3, Takamaru, Crystal, Rayman. I even considered a Monster Hunter character. And these characters just did not seem like good fits at this time. Smash Bros. Ultimate has 89 characters. And while 69 only makes a 22% smaller roster, I can really consider it to be more of an all-star roster with minimal filler and leaving the team more focus on other areas of the game. I've decided to keep the Mii costumes because that is an additional avenue of content that the team can continue to make money with. If you're mad about the cuts, don't worry. In the next chapter of this 5-part series, I'll hope to make some concessions on many of these characters with new elements to Smash Bros. So stay tuned for that. This is part 2 of my 5-part series. The next Smash. Covering all the changes I would make if a new Smash Bros. Game would be made in the future. Now if you haven't seen part 1 already, I strongly suggest you do so now. In it, I've discussed which characters would be added to the roster, which characters would be removed from the roster, and give you very elaborate reasons why Sakurai is not the man for the job. I'm going to openly talk about newcomers going into this next part, so please be sure to take a step back if you have not yet seen part 1. Now, continuing from part 1, we now have a roster of 69 characters. 71 if you count Squirtle and Ivysaur. I have considered making further changes to the roster. I know how popular that Greninja might have been from fan polls, but of course, those polls were taken more than 2 years ago, and as we know with Pokémon, popularity fades once a new generation of Pokémon is introduced. So, while I do feel unsure about the amount of Pokémon I currently have, I hope whatever new Pokémon will certainly draw interest more than an older one. Also, the news that Microsoft buying out Activision is very monumental. It was a move that I did not anticipate, and in case viewers that are watching this month since the date uploaded, the absence of an Activision character is merely coincidental with the Activision sale. So, this next part is going to cover new gameplay mechanics, changes to particular characters, and new customization features. There will be 2 major mechanics that certain characters will have to their list of abilities. The first is being able to climb walls. Characters like Link, Diddy Kong, the Ice Climbers and Lara Croft will stick to a vertical surface and move up and down freely. This makes for creative mind games for certain stages, and of course, it won't last forever before the character no longer has footing. So I contemplated, would climbing be unfair? I don't think so. For competitive matches, the majority of legal stages don't really have walls to climb, they're just platforms that you need to ledge grab. Whether you would use climbing or not, there certainly would be an importance to this, as I'll explain later on in this 5-part series. The second major mechanic is the ability to float or fly. For characters like Dark Samus, Pit, and Charizard, they won't have multiple jumps like the other characters. They'll ascend for a set distance, while still being able to attack and use special moves. This will add new layers to gameplay, while also making certain characters true to their original designs. And then here are some minor changes to gameplay. Some are pleasant little additions or changes, while others still make a difference to gameplay in some form. Speed modifier. You can adjust the speed of the game based on your skill. You can go fast to make the game like Super Smash Bros. Melee. Slow the game down for a more casual experience a la Smash Bros. Brawl. No matter the setting, the physics automatically adjust to the ideal play experience. And for people that think this isn't possible, sports games like Madden and NBA 2K have had similar features each and every year. I don't see why this cannot be possible with Super Smash Bros. Tripping would also get a new twist. So you have an opportunity to intentionally trip opponents by running past them. The smaller the character, the likelier that they can trip a larger character. This kind of tripping can only happen when the opponent is standing or blocking, not moving, in the air, or attacking. More foreground elements. I know this isn't considered a new gameplay mechanic, but I felt this was the best section to put such a new addition. So rather than having a diorama look, there will be foreground elements in most stages to flesh out the gameplay experience. I'm not talking about trees in the foreground or large structures that get in the way of the camera, but rather smaller elements like tree stumps, thin signage and a character here or there walking by. Night versions. One of the ideas I once suggested before, and Tekken, Street Fighter and other series also beat Sakurai to this idea. There are a few stages where the sky changes between day and night, but how about just a fixed night sky or day sky for all outdoor stages? I know somebody going to point out that setting like Midgar have never really had a daytime, or the Splatoon stages never really had a nighttime, and adding a daytime or nighttime, when there was never one before, would really go outside the boundaries of what their respective games offered. However, I see it more as a feature that adds variety to the game, rather than an unnecessary addition to a character, like those emblems on Fire Emblem characters' capes, that would look so much better without them. Spam-friendly voiceovers. So, you're probably sick of hearing Ness, Pikachu, and Kirby's voices from doing the same move over and over. And I've come up with a great compromise. So Ness will say PK Fire once. And during a 5-second duration, that voice clip will be replaced with several grunts. Still audible so you know what attack he's doing, but at least it's far less annoying. So let's talk about the minor changes to each character. Zelda, Bowser Jr., Hero, Steve, and all 3 Mii fighters. These fighters will be pretty much untouched with no significant changes or additions needed, at least at this point. Mario. Mario's up tilt is now his up smash. His side smash is now a powerful punch. Neutral air is replaced with a rotating kick. Down air is replaced with a downwards drill kick. Donkey Kong. The two updates for him is that he has the ability to climb and that he has his original voiceovers. Link. Link's forward air is not his neutral air. Forward air is replaced with a forward, delayed stab. In addition, he has the ability to climb. Kirby. Running attack is now a slide. Down tilt is a low headbutt. Fox. Because we no longer have Falco, a few elements of Falco will carry over to Fox, such as his up air and up smash. His up tilt will also be reanimated. Pikachu. I don't see any quality of life changes that need to be made for Pikachu, but he definitely needs to be tweaked for sure. Luigi. His spastic personality will be gone. All his comic relief attacks will be reanimated, and he'll be more like the actually Luigi that Nintendo's known for having. So for instance, instead of his forward smash, which is a weird hand poke, he will get a powerful punting kick. Ness. Because we no longer have Lucas, a few elements of Lucas will carry over to Ness. This includes Lucas's up tilt, neutral air and forward air. Captain Falcon. Running attack will be replaced with a leaping kick. Peach. So some of Peach's moves will go to Daisy. Her side smash will be reanimated and will only feature her frying pan. Her down tilt will be pulling in her opponent with the handle of her umbrella. Her running attack will also be grabbing a Nancy Toad. Bowser. His neutral air will be reanimated. His running attack will be a shell slide. In addition, he has the ability to climb. Sheik. Her running attack will be a corkscrew kick. Her jab combo will also be reanimated. Marth. His down tilt will be sticking his sword into the ground. His running animation will also be overhauled. And I think that's the correct term when talking about Fire Emblem characters in general. Ganondorf. His back fist should be replaced with a powerful but tricky to master sword slice. His running animation will also be different. Mewtwo. His back air will be replaced with a horizontal tail whip. His tail hurt box, while not completely removed, he won't get damaged in as many situations, such as simply climbing up the ledge, while a villager's bowling ball still makes contact with his tail. In addition, he has the ability to hover. Meta Knight. Meta Knight's forward tilt is now his jab combo. His forward tilt is now his forward smash. His forward smash is now a horizontal sword slash. In addition, he has the ability to fly. Pit. His forward tilt is replaced with a kick, stab combo. In addition, he has the ability to fly. Wario. His down smash will be a butt bounce to cover a larger radius. His up smash is an upwards chomp. His old up smash is now his up tilt. His forward air is now a straight punch. His back air is now a mule kick. His up air is now an overhead slap. His running animation is more like the one he has in Mario games. He can now carry opponents with his forward throw like Donkey Kong. His down throw is now a spinning pile driver. Snake. His running attack is now a ballistic shield charge. His up air is now a ballistic shield bash. In addition, he has the ability to climb. Pokemon Trainer. The only update for him is that Charizard has the ability to fly. Diddy Kong. His up smash consists of him coiling his tail and springing upwards. His forward smash is not a hard-standing heel click. His down smash is now a spinning tail attack. His up air is now 2 upward slaps. His running attack will be reanimated to only feature 1 hit. In addition, he has the ability to climb rather than just stick to the wall. His running animation will also be fixed. Like Donkey Kong, he too will get his original voice clips. Sonic. His jab is a punch, kick, jumping kick combo. His side smash is now the Sonic Flare from Sonic Battle. His down smash is now a sideways spin on the ground. His forward air is now a rotating kick. His down air is now a front flip axe kick. King Dedede. His forward tilt is now a flick with the handle of his hammer. Lucario. The only update for him is that he has the ability to climb rather than just stick to the wall. ROB. The only update for him is that he has the ability to fly. This means his original up B move is scrapped. Toon Link. His running attack is now a forward stab. Wolf. His forward smash is now a downward swatting slash. His running animation will be fixed. In addition, he has the ability to crawl. Villager. His neutral air is now a spinning attack using a pole vault that was introduced in Animal Crossing New Horizons. His down air will be an attack also using a vaulting pole. His back air will be a backwards net swing. Mega Man. His running attack will now be his down tilt. His down tilt is now a crouching version of his hard knuckle attack. His up tilt will be reanimated so that he doesn't jump. Little Mac. His forward air will consist of him throwing 2 punches rather than 1, and the second hit will meteor. His running attack is now a gut punch. Pac-Man. This will seem very bizarre at first, but Pac-Man would have the ability to climb. Yes, by moving up or down along a wall, he'll move in his classic muncher form. Shulk. Let me just rant for a bit before proceeding. Okay, so if the majority of attack consists of him using a sword, why isn't it in his hands? Why is it on his back? In the original Xenoblade Chronicles game. It's out. So, I have no clue what Sakurai was thinking when animating him. Certainly a bunch of moves will see to be reanimated, and on top of all that, he's a pretty dull fighter overall. I think Sakurai wasn't much of a fan of the series until the sequel came out, for obvious reasons. His up smash will consist of him holding the sword horizontally with both hands and him thrusting it upwards. His running attack would be similar, holding the sword vertically and thrusting it forwards. His up air would be swinging the sword over his head rather than just sticking it straight upwards. His forward air will be a double kick. Ryu. I thought about this for a while, but let's get rid of his special Street Fighter mechanics. This light punch stuff, these stubby little attacks, these input-specific commands. Characters don't need to be this complicated, and Ryu would be far better off if he had just the attacks that the player needed in order to hold his own against other characters with swords, projectiles and other magic. Sakurai can say, oh, this is the most authentic representation of a video game character in all of mankind, and Street Fighter fans won't be satisfied until every single little attention to detail has been addressed. Bullshit. Ryu's also one of the most crossed over video game characters, and I can certainly assure you that's not the case at all. I said this in 2012, and I can't believe I have to say it in 2022, but if I want to play Street Fighter, then I'll play Street Fighter. Cloud. His forward air would be a meteor attack where he doesn't use the blade of his sword, but rather the blunt side like a hammer. Instead of a slide as his down tilt, he'll just have a simple low kick. Inkling. Her running attack would be a splash she does in her squid form. Her forward tilt is now an E-kick combo. The Inklings would also have the ability to climb. Ridley. His forward tilt will just be a directional kick. I don't get the whole concept of Ridley using an appendage that he has to turn around to attack with when his claws and feet suffice. His up smash would be 2 simultaneous claw swipes. In addition, he has the ability to fly. Simon. His jab combo would involve him actually punching his opponents. His down tilt is now his running attack. His new down tilt is a whip sweep. Never thought I'd use that term. Whip sweep. King K. Rool. Rather than a straight punch, his forward smash is hammering his fist on the ground. His up smash is also reanimated, so he does not fall over for an additional attack. Isabelle. Rather than the party popper, Nook will instead have that for his forward smash. Isabelle will instead use a 1. Her up air is a fly swatter, and for her down air, she will unroll wallpaper or carpet. Rather than the pot in her running attack fly forwards, it instead breaks when she falls to the ground. Terry. His down smash is a spinning kick similar to Luigi's down smash, so he can attack foes behind him. His down air is now his neutral air. His new down air is an axe kick. Kazuya. Scrap all his unnecessary moves. So I also feel as if viewers would like an idea of what these new characters are going to be like. Let's start with Daisy. She'll definitely be lighter and quicker than Peach with a more sporty vibe to her. Think of tennis serves, think of figure skating, think of sports games that Daisy's appeared in which she gives off her own personality. Dark Samus. She'll keep all her characteristics that made her unique in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but she would have completely unique moves, including lasers instead of missiles and the ability to hover or fly. Waluigi will be similar to Ridley in terms of being lanky and lightweight. He'll have an array of moves that involve dancing, pranks and explosives. Paper Mario would be similar to Mr. Game & Watch in terms of size and weight. He will be faster and use weapons like hammers, shells, fireballs and more. He'll also have the ability to crawl, folding flat and creeping forward. Impa will be smaller than the likes of Peach and Zelda, prioritizing in speed and stealth. She uses a special knife called a Kodachi to quickly slice up opponents, seals for summoning wind, clones for zoning, and Cryonis runes for additional attack and defense possibilities. She has the ability to both climb and wall jump. Tom Nook will be a step up in power and weight over the villager and Isabelle. Being a store owner and such, he'll use brooms, he'll use shopping carts, he'll be able to use heavier furniture. And let's not forget, he's also a debt collector. Considering that there are 3 unknown characters, we can skip right to Medusa. She'd be slow, she'd be tall, she'd conjure powerful magic. So think of her as a Rosalina, without Luma, and with more snakes. Spring Man. The prototypical ARMS character would be retooled to offer a more traditional fighting style. He'll still be able to extend his arms, but not for most attacks. He'll perform moves like hammer fists, axe handles, uppercuts, all with animations that flesh out his personality. The arm swapping thing, that's getting cut. And in a little bit, I'll explain what he'll have instead. He has the ability to wall jump. Rex and Pyra. So, Rex will feel similar to Sora in the sense that he's a small boy with a sword. The appeal though is that every basic, non-special attack you have, you can do an additional input to make Pyra appear for an additional attack. So after you do a forward smash, press up A immediately, and Pyra will perform her own unique up smash. This would work in the sense that you have a second character attack alongside you like the Ice Climbers, but Pyra has a chance to get KO'd and disappear for a while like Luma. Fighter Hayabusa would be big like Ganondorf. He'll be much like Incineroar in which he can do wrestling moves. However, more of his special moves will center around grappling and command grabs as his way of strategizing. And much like Incineroar, I do find him having trouble recovering well. Ryu Hayabusa's appeal is switching between a dead or alive moveset and a Ninja Gaiden moveset simply by pressing down B. Both movesets are pretty zippy, but one involves hand-to-hand combat while the other focuses more on weapons and magic. He has the ability to both climb and wall jump. Leon. The common assumption is that Leon is going to be just like Snake. Well, he doesn't have to be. For one, Leon is much more agile. And he'll have a different set of weapons like a magnum pistol, shotgun, survival knife, flash grenades, and other gadgets. So yeah, in a way he will be like Chris Redfield in the Marvel vs. Capcom series. He has the ability to crawl. Lara. She would feel like a lighter version of Link, almost like young Link. So in addition to her pistols, she also has access to her climbing axe, bow, and arrow, and she can also make vines and tree limbs appear from nowhere for her to swing off of. She has the ability to both climb and wall jump. Finally, Scorpion uses many of his classic moves as basic attacks. The crouching uppercut, the backflip kick, the spear, the teleport punch, his taint swords, his trippy command throw. He'd be a swordy brawler hybrid that's relatively slow and tricky to recover. I felt obligated to explain all the major changes to pre-existing characters as well as how new characters would perform. But I'm not done there. So for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, you were able to modify characters in the form of spirits. You equip a spirit, and you get a certain modifier like a speed modifier. Final smash meter fills faster. You start the battle with a ray gun. But this, I feel, is more like a novelty rather than an addition that players can rely on, or a technical feature that really gives these characters more depth. Spirits are stickers. That's exactly what they feel like. That is a concept I want to evolve. This is part of why I wanted to make many roster cuts and felt certain characters weren't significant. A floatier version of Fox, a Marth with different sword properties, a heavier Mario, these are not things that we should apply to just one character at a time. Why not give more characters the opportunity to have each of these characteristics as options? So this is where this new feature would come in. Simply called presets. You simply pick a preset and the character automatically changes. You'll get a stronger trait, but at the same time you'll get a weaker trait as compensation. These things can affect traits like power, speed, weight, air physics, knockback attacks, meteor attacks, and even size. Yes. Certain characters can also get slightly bigger or smaller as a means to be harder or easier to hit. Each character will have 7 or 8 of their own presets. And 3 examples are on the screen for Wario. In addition to his normal preset, he'll have more to pick from, such as Mario's migraine. I felt he didn't have quite the knockback ability in the previous 2 Smash Bros. Games, but this preset will make him more powerful, and he'll get a little more growth, making him easier to hit. Balloon Jump will make Wario floatier, but at the same time, this will make him slower. And then Boulder Dasher, where he'll run and move faster, but that also means he'll fall faster like Fox McCloud. Again, these are only 3 examples and Wario can have several more. Let me reiterate again that these will also give minor or slight changes. So Boulder Dasher would only make Wario a little faster. It won't make him as fast as Sonic. Presets are, I feel, compromises to some cut characters. If you want a character that feels like Jigglypuff, Kirby can have a preset. For Lucas, Ness. For Falco, Fox. For Lucina, Marth. And so on. So the last major gameplay change I have to share would be customizable special moves. So, rather than stick with special moves you don't like, you can unlock brand new moves. Now this isn't a new concept. It was in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, with the full-fledged form only belonging to 4 characters. And these same customization options are also a thing in both Injustice 2 and Mortal Kombat 11. You can change neutral, side, up and down specials, and there will be 2 additional options for each. So to summarize, not only can you alter the character with a preset, but you'll also be able to pick from different special moves. So I will use Tom Nook as an example. So by default, his up B would be a hot air balloon that burns opponents right over his head while slowly ascending upwards. When unlocked, however, you can choose to replace that move with an elevator lift that quickly ascends upwards with the whole carriage acting like a hitbox. The last option would be him fluttering with his tail, much like the Tanuki suit, where you have more control and freedom to ensure safe recoveries and escapes. So up B, down B, side B, and neutral B have 3 options each, and you have to unlock the other 2. Now, if I were to list off every single possible ability for every character, you'd be here until 5 AM. So I won't do that, unfortunately. But I will point out any exception or changes for characters that this customization option would affect in a unique way. So having customizable special moves will create a few problems. I'm aware of this. For characters like Pokemon Trainer and Ryu Hayabusa that would be able to switch movesets with down B, this move will simply be just another special move you can select from. And who knows? Maybe Zelda and Sheik can also swap to one another again. So each Pokemon will get their own customizations to pick from. Ryu Hayabusa, however, will not. His basic moves will change by switching from sword to no sword, but his special moves for the most part will be shared between the 2 versions. Cloud Limit Break is a special move that affects his other moves. Not just making them better, but they also have major visual differences. So Limit Break will certainly need to be changed. Sure, you could simply give 9 special moves Limit Break versions, but I fear that could possibly make him too up if there's a move that become just too advantageous. Inkling and Steve. They each have a special move dedicated to collecting a resource. Inkling with Ink and Steve with blocks. I am aware of that. And the solution I have is that each B special move he has allows him to obtain more. That might not be a detailed answer, but it can certainly be an obvious workaround. Hero. His down B is scrapped. Seriously, fuck that move. Instead, many of the moves within this move will instead be customizable special moves. For example, Kakarikal will instead be a neutral B move that you can use anytime you please without a point system. Wow, what a novel concept. Springman. No longer will you simply press down B to change a different arm. Instead, there will be different special moves involving different arms. So you can choose different projectiles, multi-hit shots, and other unique moves, all with their own animations as well as properties. Arms like the Cracker, the Tri-Bolt, the Parasol, and others will make their way into Springman's arsenal. So, that's pretty much everything there is to explain for this part. Never thought it would be this long, and there's still a lot you might be eager to hear. Stay tuned for part 3, where we explore other parts of this hypothetical sequel. We've left off with new customization and gameplay additions that make it a completely different game from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. If you're just delving into this series, I strongly suggest you start with episode 1 so you can see how we've gotten to this point. The new direction, the roster, the new mechanics and progressive features are things you should know beforehand. So, what comes next? Well, there is something I need to address before I can share this next part. As you saw from the recent Nintendo Direct, there will be a new Xenoblade Chronicles game, titled Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And this forces me to do something I don't want to do, which is replace a character on this roster. So this means Rex won't be on the roster, Pyra is not making a return at all, and instead we have a new protagonist called Noah. I really wanted a character that works like Noob Saibot from Mortal Kombat 11. All I can do now is just hope that Noah might offer something similar, but I can't just sit here and wait until we get closer to his game's release. I need to make a decision now, and keeping Rex and Pyra clearly would make the roster less evergreen. So we are cutting Rex and Pyra, and in their place is Noah. I'm sure people are curious as to what stages there will be and how many. But before that, I feel like we need to go over some of the main game modes. Regular battles return, in which you can customize your experience by time, stocks, items and most of the other settings that have been present in the previous game. Stamina mode will be revamped. Rather than running on stocks, stamina mode will adopt the traditional fighting game norm, where once a player reaches 0, the other player wins the fight and the match resets. Games can be played until a player wins a number of fights. When it comes to 3 or more players, the last player standing will win the point. Though if you prefer to play classic stamina mode, you can do that by changing a setting. Squad Strike will also make its return and will feature a more streamlined experience. All the rules will also be there. You can also choose as many characters you prefer, with a maximum of 7. Tournament is also back, but instead of a maximum of 32 players, you can double that to 64. So what is new? I was really interested in coin battles coming back, however, I feel like it hasn't been a very popular mode and wouldn't be if it made a return. There is something similar, though, which I call damage mode. To summarize damage mode up simply, the player that does the most damage or reaches a certain damage milestone wins. KOs don't matter, deaths don't matter, all that matters is staying on the stage and attacking players at the most opportune times. If you get KO'd, however, it will take 5 seconds to spawn, meant to be a detriment as you wait, while other players are still fighting and increasing their score. Damage mode can only work with 4 or more players. Damage mode can be timed in a number of minutes, in which the player with the most damage dealt wins. Or, theirs will be a limit, like 1000% or 1500%, and the first player to reach that mark wins. It's something simple, but it's also pretty different, and I can see it as a way for more competitive players to try a 4-player free-for-all mode. In terms of offline multiplayer modes, that's pretty much all I have to share. For modes that you might find in Sakurai's infamous games and more category, you'll need to wait a little long to find out what I would have in store. Just like with the characters, not every stage is going to come back. Now my priority was that each character has their own stage, and I can't believe that despite all these stages that certain characters like Incineroar or Bowser didn't have stages, but were their own little habitats, so to speak. I am already under the impression that since all these stages already modernized, that there won't be much effort to bring most of them back, but at the same time, having new stages is important so that the game continues to feel new and evolve, rather have all iterations of Smash Bros. Have nothing but classic stages. So, let's describe all the new stages as well as what went into these decisions. So here we go. Link. This stage will be a location from the sequel to The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Unfortunately, I will need to come back to this at a later date. Because of course, I can't describe what I don't know. Samus, Emmy Zone from Metroid Dread. This will be a unique Emmy Zone featuring a black and white color palette, in which an Emmy robot appears on occasion. These robots cannot be eliminated, like they can be in Metroid Dread, but rest assured that stage hazards will disable them. Yoshi, Rail Yard Run from Yoshi's Crafted World. This is the first stage of the game featuring the town section. The red-wheeled train will move around the map, and players can hit it from behind to make it go faster. Kirby, Waddle Dee Town from Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This will be a pretty wide stage like Distant Planet, where you can walk to other areas like the fishing hole and on top of the theater. Waddle Dees can also wander around, allowing you to knock them into other opponents for damage. Luigi, Garden Suites from Luigi's Mansion 3. In the little time that I have played the game, this area in particular stood out the most to me. Fighters fight on an elevator platform going up or down. You'll come across ghosts in the background and even come across notable ones like Dr. Potter. Bowser, World Bowser from Super Mario 3D World. I chose between this and Neo Bowser City and decided on World Bowser because it's more similar to a typical Bowser's Castle stage. At night, the background is lit up colorfully. Like any Mario stage, there will be blocks for fighters to break and the occasional enemy that interferes. Daisy, N64 Rainbow Road from Mario Kart 8. This is honestly one of the best rainbow roads given the atmosphere. Primarily, you'd be fighting on the flying train, as it flies players from section to section while a race is taking place. Like other racing tracks, karts have a chance to damage the players. I know this seems like a strange choice for Daisy, but I did not really want the other Mario characters to have this stage in place of the other Mario stages. Wario, the Golden Pyramid from Wario Land 4. This takes place outside the entrance of the pyramid. I thought about another WarioWare stage, but I did not want to do one that pretended to be a series of mini-games. Snake, Diamond Dogs from Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Not many iconic locations in the latest mainline MGS game, but the Diamond Dogs mother base is something I can take inspiration from. With multiple floors, stairs and decks, this can make for a creative layout for a stage with a unique industrial theme to it. Pokémon Trainer. Pokémon Stadium 3. This will be an update to the typical Pokémon Stadium stage where it transforms periodically. I know we have the Gallows Pokémon League stage, but stay tuned to find out what happens to that one. Pokémon Stadium 3 will transition into Rock, Fairy, and Ice-type stages featuring several Pokémon of their respective types. Diddy Kong, Punch Bowl from Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. This is a long iceberg where the floor is slippery and you can slide off the ledge with physics. Bash Master and other enemies will make camera appearances, with the Bash Master himself striking the platform with his hammer to cause players to fall into the punch. Sonic Frontiers is a game that is coming out in 2022, and while we don't have more details on this game, all I know is that he's in need of a new stage. I will revisit this part another time. Lucario, Obsidian Field Lands from Pokémon Legends Arceus. I chose this setting for two reasons. 1. The scenery is beautiful with that unique tint of lavender. The second reason is that there are many recognizable Pokémon in this area that can make for suitable cameos, such as Snorlax, Abra, and Heracross. The stage itself takes place on a raised wooden platform that's suitable for Pokémon battles. Little Mac, Classic Boxing Ring. As much as people might love the boxing ring, Little Mac would get an updated stage that doesn't feature a giant screen. The venue will be much smaller in comparison to make it more nostalgic and charming. In place of the screen, banners will be displayed from the rafters featuring the fighters in battle. You also might see a blimp featuring one of many fictional advertisements, like you find in the Mario Kart series. Pac-Man stage. The old Pac-Man stage from the 3DS game will return, but there will be a twist. That twist is that the background will change to feature different versions of Pac-Man that come with their own styles and color palettes. Like Ms. Pac-Man, Pac-Man Championship Edition. Bowser Jr., Lake Lapcat from Super Mario 3D World. The normal run-through of this stage is that you're on a boat that cruises past various locations across the map. Plessy will even swim about to either support or hurt players. Inkling, Sakurai Station from Splatoon 3. You fight on a structure consisting of multiple layers, with the stage overlooking the cove. Salmonids will appear and spray black ink, giving disadvantages to players, such as slower movement. Isabelle, Island Tour from Animal Crossing New Horizons. I like Tortimer's Island, but I feel like it needs a new coat of paint, so to speak. Island Tour will consist of a randomly generated island featuring the house of a random villager and a dock, where the Dodo Airlines plane is parked in the foreground. The plane will arrive and take off periodically. The stage will also have Gulliver appearing in a sailboat. Waluigi, Space Land from Mario Party Superstars. Fighters fight on the middle countdown pad. Much like Spiral Mountain, the pad will rotate, revealing the world in a 360-degree panorama. The Bowser laser goes off when the countdown reaches 0. Paper Mario, the tram from Paper Mario, the Origami King. I had a tough decision on which stage to go with for this character, so I ultimately decided on fights taking place on top of a longer version of this tram. So as it travels, players will fight on the roof as scenery from Autumn Mountain, Overlook Mountain and Overlook Mountain. Paper paratroopers and paragoombas will make appearances on this stage. Tom Nook Museum. This stage will consist of a fusion among Animal Crossing's 3 museum exhibits that display fossils, bugs and fish. The stage consists of 2 long platforms, a catwalk on top of a deck that overlooks the museum floor which randomly generates different fossils, fish tanks and bug habitats. A crane can also carry a fossil or a crate that players can break that contains harmful insects like bees or fish. Pokémon. For a new Pokémon character, there should be a new stage to match. That's all I can share for now. Medusa, Reaper Fortress from Kid Icarus Uprising. I am aware that Pit fought Medusa at Underworld Castle, but it's a very dreary looking stage for a fighting game. Instead, Reaper Fortress is a prettier option. This is a touring stage where a flying platform makes a few stops inside and outside the fortress. Along the way, Reapers will appear. Fire Emblem. When a new game is announced, we can know for certain what kinds of stages can be suitable for a new Fire Emblem character. Noah. Self-explanatory. New IP. Self-explanatory. Fighter Hayabusa. The stage is simply called Pro Wrestling Venue. It will pretty much be an updated boxing ring. The large screen will be in the background, but it will feature a big versus screen. The screen will also show the battle from a different camera angle, whether it be from a hard camera, an overhead camera that glides, one of the on-foot cameramen in the foreground of background. And wouldn't you know it, Pro Wrestling for NES also features a cameraman. Ryu Hayabusa, Sky City Tokyo, from both Ninja Gaiden 2 and Dead or Alive 5. I only played the demo of Ninja Gaiden 2 on Xbox 360 when I was a teen and was blown away by the environment. It has a fluid mix of both new and old architectural elements. The camera will peer out at a cityscape. The giant Buddha statue makes a cameo appearance. Ryu. This was a tough call, but I didn't want to have 2 rooftop stages that look the same, so Street Fighter's Ryu will be getting a new stage as well. And I have picked Temple Hideout from Street Fighter V. While not Ryu's stage, it's another iconic location in the world of Street Fighter, where you battle M. Bison in arcade mode. Unfortunately for competitive players, this would be a walkout stage. Leon, the village from Resident Evil 4. Seeing that Capcom could be remaking Resident Evil 4, all the better. So I'd like this setting to take the spirit of Hyrule Castle from the very first Super Smash Bros. Game, being that you'd be on a rooftop and overlook the rest of the village. On occasion, zombies will climb up on the roof, but they won't be able to scale the platforms when going up the tower. Lara, Tomb Raider. This will be a medley of different areas throughout the Tomb Raider franchise. The first reason being is that there's no real locations that stand out from the others. The second reason is that it would express the exploration aspect of the series and give a demonstration of how well certain characters could traverse through it. Ghana, a picturesque safari environment from Tomb Raider legend that can serve as the stage's central area, replete with platforms and walls. The first caves from Tomb Raider 1 and Anniversary, featuring snowy elements and ledges. Angkor Wat from Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation. An underground-like jungle with sketchy terrain and traps. Yamatai, a crucial setting from the 2013 game with a gorgeous cove. Palace Midas, from Tomb Raider 1 and Anniversary, featuring a hand that turns you into gold. Howl of the Monkey Gods. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. The Hall of Seasons from Tomb Raider, Angel of Darkness. While that's unanimously the worst Tomb Raider game in the series, the stage definitely rounds out the variety with a secret passage underneath the Louvre. Finally, a treasure room that alludes to Croft Manor from no particular game. For the Omega version of the stage, the Ghana setting will be used. Scorpion, the Pit. This battle takes place on a long cement bridge. You cannot walk out of bounds. Parts of the bridge will collapse when they face enough impact, allowing you to smash your opponents to their doom below. You'll find another battle taking place off in the distance. The Omega form of this stage will actually turn it into the version found in Mortal Kombat, Deception. Mai Brawler, Sport and Highway from Ring Fit Adventure. Another level that moves, and I know there are already plenty of new ones, but for a game that require movement, it rewards you with many breathtaking looking environments as a result. Many stages are pretty samey, whether they have nature or castle themes, but Sport and Highway has a rather rocky and rugged theme that you don't see often in Smash Bros. Stages, with water giving that a great balance. Me Sword Fighter. Miitopia. This will be the only horizontal scrolling level. This stage traverses through various areas of the Miitopia Switch game, including Wayward Woods, Karkatan, and Arid Frontier. Like similar stages before it, the stage consists of various platforms to jump on, as well as different buildings like hotels and shops. Miis and enemies will also occasionally be fighting in the background. For the rest of the roster, they'll be getting classic stages. Here's what that will be like. Mario. New Donk City. Donkey Kong. Congo Falls. Fox. Corneria. Pikachu. Saffron City. Ness. Onett. Captain Falcon. Big Blue. Peach. Princess Peach's Castle. Ice Climbers. Summit. Sheik. Gerudo Valley. Zelda. Great Plateau Tower. Marth. Castle Siege. Ganondorf. Temple. Mutwo. Nova Pokémon League. Meta Knight. Halberd. Pit. Skyworld. King DDD. Fountain of Dreams. Alimer. Garden of Hope. Rob. Balloon Fight. Toon Link. Pirate Ship. Wolf. Lilac Cruise. Villager. Town and City. Mega Man. Wily Castle. Shulk. Gore Plains. Cloud. Midgar. Ridley. Norfair. Simon. Dracula's Castle. King K. Rool. Jungle Japes. Hero. Yggdrasil's Altar. Terry. King of Fighters Stadium. Steve. Minecraft World. Kazuya. Mishima Dojo. Impa. Bridge of Elden. Spring Man. Spring Stadium. Dark Samus. Frigate Orpheon. And Me Gunner. Woohoo Island. So now let's talk about Battlefield and Final Destination. Battlefield is going against the grain this time around. It will be the first Battlefield iteration to take place under a roof. So what would that be like? Well, I figured Battlefield would be inside of a huge construct. A grandiose setting where all the environments are lined up and bordered behind glass walls, like dioramas. Holographic objects like pages, birds, and even entire worlds will pan across the screen to simulate a traditional battlefield, despite being ironically more science fiction-like. Now, what about Final Destination? I think the spacey gimmick has been overdone, and I feel that the next version should be more abstract. So what do I mean? Using the use of colors and shapes to help move the stage along. Think of colorful particles, traversing slopey hills or stormy water, being caught in a war of fireworks, and watching as the world changes color in front of you. Yes, let's try not to give anybody a seizure at the same time. Now all these stages at this point will have flat and tri-platform variations. However, there is a selection of stages that are in, but only as a part of these forms, not their original forms. Why? Because it's a way to add more stages, so to speak, without trying to add all the stages. So these are more like backgrounds than unique stages. To access these stages, simply choose the Battlefield or Final Destination stage and select the stage you want from a scrolling list. There will be 20, and here they are. Mushroom Kingdom. Luigi's Mansion. Congo Jungle. Spirit Trains. Brinstar. Yoshi's Story. Green Greens. The Great Cave Offensive. Kalo's Pokémon League. Forside. Magicant. Flat Zone X. Arena Pharaoh. WarioWare Inc. Distant Planet. Tomodachi Life. Cloud Sea of Alrist. Moray Towers. Green Hill Zone. And Shadow Moses Island. So yeah, up to this point, that would be all the traditional stages, and I don't plan to bring any more back. The silver lining, however, is that the 20 stages I just named will have additional uses, so stay tuned for what I intend to do with them. But before we wrap up here, let's take a look at the items. In Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, there were not that many clever items. I am not going to take much time to explain which items I would cut and why. Just know that the items I would remove are because they're not all that useful or formidable. I do have a list of new items. Peach's Cake. This heals 50% damage, but there's a small chance that you might get hurt from an explosion 10 to 30 seconds afterwards. Fan. This item replaces the Gust Bellows. It pushes opponents back when holding A. It can also be directed upwards. Rambi. Mount Rambi to perform a charge attack. Miss the attack, and he will run off the stage. Attacking an unmounted Rambi results in knockback. Rambi comes in his own special crate, which is why he isn't considered an assist trophy. Hiding barrel. This is carried like an ordinary barrel, but it's like a shield. It endures a substantial amount of damage until it breaks. Blast ball. It's like a soccer ball, except it's larger, travels shorter, and deals less power. Blast ball. Works like a soccer ball, but it's slower and travels shorter, but is more accurate. Beam rod. A rod that fired a short-range electrical charge like how it works in the Kirby series. Demon launcher. This projectile weapon fires 3 missiles that home in on opponents but travel slowly. Frying pan. A battering weapon, but when doing smash attacks, projectiles can be reflected in a straight path. Rescue. Using the item on the ground marks the location. Pressing up B will automatically teleport the player to that spot. Vertical gun. This gun fires energy shots in an arc. Great for reaching around obstacles and within drop zones. Suction bomb. Sticks to a surface after being thrown. It explodes after a few seconds, leaving a patch of ink on the field of play. Block dropper gauntlet. Summons heavy blocks that drop overhead. The blocks can be used for defense and platforming afterwards. Hurdless. Touch the hurdless to freeze opponents, even when in mid-air. One attack wears the effect off. Spear. A projectile attack. Throw the spear at a wall, and it can be used as a platform. Kung Lao's hat. Replaces the player's running attack with a spin attack. The hat can also be thrown like a buzzsaw for multiple hits. Lucky ticket. It works like the special flag, but the player has a chance to win another item. A new change to items is that there will be a rare form of weapon that appears inside of a large, steel crate. Noticeably larger than wooden crates. It's uncertain how many hit or how much damage you'll need to break the crate open, but once it opens, a very powerful weapon comes out. The possible items you can get from a steel crate include the hammer, a heart container, a special flag, a superstar, daybreak, dragoon, demon launcher, and Rambi. Unlike previous Smash Bros. Games, you don't have to collect pieces of items, instead they are automatically whole. Assist trophies will also be updated. Again, I'm not going to explain why I'd remove all of these. There are different reasons for each of them, as you can tell. The new assist trophies are as follows. Dragadon. Breathes flames that fall onto the stage one at a time. Kaboom. A gremlin in a TNT barrel. Explodes when touches an opponent. Rivali. Saves the user from touching a blast zone. Adeline. Makes 3 Kirby-related items appear. Crazy Red. Makes a rare collectible appear if the user KOs an opponent in the time he is present. Starman. Pro Wrestling. Does a number of Lucha Libre attacks. Mr. Sandman. He essentially replaces Guile. When you get near him, he performs a hook punch. Lola Pop. She attacks opponents with special clapback arms that can also deflect projectiles. Ray MK3. He still return after being absent from the game since Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Moogle. Heals the user, but only at a random point during his dance. Rabbids. Fires plungers at opponents from a first-person perspective. Wesker. Wesker does the Phantom Dance move that he does from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Chun-Li. Does a few of her signature moves. Sonya Blade. See Chun-Li. Pokémon. Unfortunately, I don't have a list of which Pokémon I would include or remove. I have not played a Pokémon game since Pokémon X and Y on the 3DS. I do find it important to include a bunch of new Pokémon, but this current offering looks like a grab bag of different Pokémon that rather fit a mechanical niche than have an emphasis on popularity. So wow. That was a lot that we have covered in part 3. And there is still a lot of ground to cover for the next 2 parts. I hope you continue to stay tuned for more. Part 4 is another vital part. If you haven't already, I strongly suggest start at part 1, where I cover the roster, followed by part 2, where I discuss gameplay and customization. Part 3 covered stages, items, and multiplayer game modes. In this chapter, I can discuss what I would include as part of all the single-player offerings. In my previous video, there is something I forgot to mention, that being, Special Smash is one of the game modes in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that wouldn't be returning. The reason being is that it's not all that essential. It was certainly a nice little novelty in Melee, but it's since worn out its welcome at this point. Games and more will be rebranded as single-player modes. In other words, these are modes that don't involve any multiplayer play. First and foremost, I want to address that Smash Bros. Will get a tutorial mode. What a novel concept, right? So this tutorial mode will allow players to learn the ins and outs of specific characters as they play. No Sakurai front and center. No giving away everything for free before you even put down your money. You'll simply learn by playing. These tutorials will cover how these characters perform, how they defend, how they recover, and other interesting tidbits. So for instance, if you want to learn how to use Paper Mario competitively, you can learn a few useful tactics before first jumping into an online mode without a game plan. And of course, you can also freely wallop an opponent of your choosing in training mode. Classic mode gets an interesting twist this time around. Each round will have 10 stages, and this includes 2 bonus stages. Each character will always have a rival opponent that they'll face in the very last battle. So for Ryu, the character he will fight in the last battle will always be the cause. Each of the battles in Classic mode will have stamina rules, best of 3. With the exception of the last opponent, the opponents you'll face will be random. Stages 1 and 2 will be one-on-one battles with items. Stages 4 and 5 will be one-on-one battles without items. Stages 7, 8, and 9 will be considered endurance battles, in which you'll fight 2, 3, and 4 opponents, respectively, at the same time. Stage 3 will be a bonus stage known as the Smash Wheel. This will be a large wheel that will bounce around like a rubber tire. This wheel will feature red panels all around it. The objective is to hit all panels to turn them green as quickly as possible. The faster you clear this, the greater the rewards will be. Stage 6 will be the Home Run Contest. Home Run Contest will also be among the single-player offering, but the version found in Classic mode will also come with a reward depending on the distance you end up with. I know I'm talking about rewards a lot, but rest assured, I will discuss unlockables and much more in the final episode. But that's not all. Rather than a trophy, however, after clearing Classic mode with each character, you'll get special intro and ending screens that tell an original story, much like what you find in the traditional fighting game. Stage Builder makes its return. You can also create break the target stages. Create the stage, choose whether you want to add 10, 20, or 30 targets. Add paths to each target including speed and direction. You can add rules for what kinds of characters are eligible for each stage. You can also opt to make the stage just for one character in particular, like Pikachu. From there, you can upload the stages for others to play, while having leaderboards for each based on the time it takes to complete. My Fighter mode is also back, but it will be integrated into a new mode dedicated to player customization. So, here you'll be able to choose your preset, your special moves and outfits. You'll find out more in the next episode, though. Mob Smash will be a game mode that won't return. Much like Special Smash, it's a novelty that's worn out its welcome, I feel, and see that the other editions made well make up for it. Now for the story mode. And it's actually something that I wanted to have since 2015. And that would be an adventure mode with a Metroidvania-style map. I still think it's a great idea for a game like this. The gameplay would really mesh in well, and the game itself has a plethora of content that you can unlock with such a mode like this. Super Smash Bros. Brawl had linear stages, and I felt that was on the right track to what a single-player mode in a fighting game could be like. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate had a large overworld map, but they took several steps back, I feel. Now, an interconnected map isn't something seen before in a Smash Bros. Game, but now it's becoming more common in gaming. Indie studios are doing them on a constant basis, so I don't see how you can't hire the people to make it happen. Now Sakurai and storytelling go together like oil and water. Both his attempts at a story were pretty much similar. A giant celestial being has an army of enemies. Something turns the roster into a vegetative state. I get that it's not easy to make a storyline when you work with characters from different worlds without dialogue. So here's what I propose for a plot. The baddest villains in gaming history assemble to merge the realms, so to speak. They agree to form an alliance so they have a power so great they can rule over just one land. The villains include Bowser, King K. Rool, Ganondorf, Ridley, King DDD, Why Not, Wolf, The Cause, and even non-playable characters like Sephiroth, M. Bison, Eggman, and Dracula. They won't go by a particular name, they won't have an emblem, silly gimmick or tacky mothership. They're essentially going to be just a collective of villains that will get in your way. I guess at this point, I have to establish which new characters will be available at launch and available as DLC, considering that determines which characters will appear in this mode. So on disc, I have Waluigi, Paper Mario, Tom Nook, the new Fire Emblem character, Spring Man, Noah, Ryu Hayabusa, and Leon. So these characters will be part of this adventure. Then for DLC, I have Impa, the new Pokemon, Medusa, Fighter Hayabusa, the new IP, Lara, and Scorpion. Determining who would be DLC and who would be on the base roster was a hard decision, especially when it came to the third-party characters. While Ryu Hayabusa has a long, vast history in gaming, he was the weakest of the three in terms of marketability, so it was quite easy to put him in the base roster. At the same time, it wasn't hard to put Lara in as DLC because, well, she's the entire Tomb Raider IP basically. Omitting her from the story mode wouldn't be that soul-crushing. Then that just leaves Scorpion and Leon, and only one of them get to be part of story mode canonically. On one hand, Scorpion means you can include Shao Kahn as a villain and use other Mortal Kombat references in story mode. The caveat is that there is already a third-party ninja the I've already established going to be on the base roster. With Leon being part of the base roster, story mode could instead have Wesker as a villain. So as much as I'd like to fight a boss like Goro, we could have a boss instead like Nemesis or a similar character from the Resident Evil franchise. And I also find Resident Evil to be more unique in comparison to the other series, whereas Mortal Kombat will be yet another fighting game IP, along with Street Fighter, Tekken and SNK. So yeah, Leon and Ryu, base roster. Lara and Scorpion, DLC. At some point in story mode, you will be able to get all the DLC characters purchased as playable. Back to the story then. So, this band of baddies has managed to condense the entire universe down into a small black cube. Because it's easier to control one world together than it is to try to control their own worlds by themselves. And everything seems out of place. So how does this story begin? A black hole emerges in the middle of a Mario Kart race. This is just one of various black holes throughout the universe, and the bad guys are all watching them fill energy into the cube-like sand into an hurdless. Just then, Wario and Waluigi offer up their services to the rest of the villains. For their trouble, they get tossed outside of the black hole, back into the ruined Mario universe. Then you get a subtitle that appears that says, Chapter 1. Waluigi. Waluigi looks for a way into the closing black hole. Along the way, you'll encounter an invasion of fuzzies. When you defeat the colony, Rosalina is surprisingly there and helps you launch yourself inside the black hole before it closes. And thus, your journey through the spacious map begins. You start with Waluigi and Wario as your first two playable characters. One of the reasons why you start out with these two is because neither of them can run fast, wall jump, climb, or squeeze through small openings. So many platforms and secret areas will be inaccessible when you start out. And it won't be for a while until you come across characters that are able to access these areas with these special abilities. There are certain characters you unlock when you get to a new chapter, and for the rest of them, you have to find and defeat them in a one-on-one battle. There are some areas throughout the map that can only be accessible to a certain number of characters based on their abilities. So if you have a character that can climb, they'll be able to access hidden areas you can only reach by climbing. Same with flying. Maybe you'd think of flying off into an abyss that you otherwise would think is just nothing but death and come across a secret area. And there are certain areas where you can only access with one specific character. So for instance, if you play as Pac-Man and climb, munch, up a certain wall, it will lead you to a secret Pac-Man area that no other character can access, even the other climbers. Even as you think you might be able to scale a wall with Link, the game won't allow you, so oftentimes, you'll just assume that the wall is unscalable. But this is just so that you don't uncover everything inside the area right away as you first explore it. The player will visit various environments throughout the Nintendo universe. These won't be specific locations like Lost Woods or Green Hill Zone, but any Nintendo gamer will be able to distinguish which series the environment belongs to by looking at it. Enemies will also appear in these regions depending on the game series. So if you're in a Ring Fit Adventure region, expect to see enemies like mollusks and hoplins. NPCs will be a big part of story mode. They will come in the form of quests that you need to complete in order to receive an award or proceed onwards in a portion of the map. The Duck Hunt Dog will be one of the characters. You'll be challenged to evade the Duck Hunt shooter's shots, and being successful will get you a significant reward. And odds are, you may not have a character agile enough to beat this challenge when you first encounter it. Other Cut Smash Bros. Characters will also be NPCs, and there will be many more such as Baby Mario, the President, Snorlax, and Vega. Bosses will also be part of story mode, and you can either encounter them on the map, or they will be a part of story mode cutscenes that progress the story along. These bosses include Dyna Blade, Phantom Ganon, Dr. Eggman, and Bashmaster, among others. Sometimes, you'll need to play as certain characters to attain certain happenings, or have certain enemies appear. For instance, if you play as Snake in a certain sci-fi related area, Grey Fox will appear, and you can battle him. Defeating these certain bosses or enemies, or collecting key items from them can also help complete certain quests from NPCs. With that in mind, story mode will require a lot of backtracking. Puzzles will also be a feature in story mode. Aside from fighting enemies, you'll be tasked with memory and logic-based challenges in order to proceed to new areas or collect rewards. Sometimes, you will require a certain character with the right speed, power, or certain projectile attacks to complete the puzzle. So, how does health work? Seeing that Super Smash Bros. Is historically known for percentiles and ring outs. Though for story mode, you'll adopt a heart system. If you get hit 3 times, your character is KO'd. The reason I went with the heart system is to ramp up the difficulty so that battles aren't too easy. When your character is KO'd, he or she will need to be resurrected with a life orb. There will be a limited number of these orbs throughout one playthrough, so you cannot buy them. You'll get something special when you beat story mode with all characters in your party, and you'll miss out on this reward if even one character is missing. Losing all of your characters might never be a concern, but what happens if you do lose all the characters available to you? Let's say you lost both Wario and Waluigi early on, and didn't have anybody left on your roster, and didn't have any life orbs to spare? Well, you can use save crystals from a checkpoint, and that would allow you to load your progress before you lost your last character. What are save crystals? You simply save your progress, but the catch is that the crystal goes away once you use it. There will be a fixed number of save crystals throughout the map. There even might be 2 or more in the exact same area. The catch is, you really need to think about using them after you've made a great deal of progress, rather than use them the moment you see them. This means you have to save sparingly, and if you've lost some characters along the way, odds are there are some players that don't want to bother reverting back to a save crystal to retrieve a lost character if it means losing a lot of progress. So there is a big benefit, yet also a big detriment to the system. This was the save system used in the console versions of Tomb Raider 1. Now that we're on the topic of the character roster again, I might as well talk about how the characters are meant to be unlocked. Every single fighter will be locked, even Mario and the original cast. However, you simply unlock each character by playing through their character-specific tutorial. That means when you play for the first time, you can choose the character you want, learn that character with the tutorial, and then proceed to playing with that character in online or Smash modes. In terms of multiplayer modes, the roster will be fully unlocked to CPUs, but not to players. Meaning if you still want to fight against certain characters, or let CPUs fight one another, you can do that without restriction. To unlock the whole roster, you simply need to play through all the tutorials. And I feel that is a much smaller ask compared to what they tried to do in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This wasn't a very long video, but still important for all the single-player offerings to stand out by themselves nonetheless. You can pretty much guess what's left. I'll see you then. The fifth and final part is here. We've gone over characters, stages, items, game modes and much more. It was very enjoyable doing this series, and it was very exciting getting to share some clever ideas in addition to finding more as this series has gone on. So there are a few, yet vital parts to go over, so what do they entail? I have mentioned previously that you can unlock each character in Smash Bros. By playing through their character tutorial. But as you already may guess, I have not fully covered unlockables. So what can be unlocked? Firstly, there will be a universal leveling system introduced. Each player will have their own progression, and you earn it every time you battle. Offline battle, online battle, story mode, battles on custom stages or break the targets, battling as Mario, or as a custom me, doesn't matter. You learn what is called PR every time you battle. Every time you level up, you can unlock skins, music, NPDA entrees, titles, and Smash Tag assets. So what's this NPDA? It essentially replaces the collectible aspect of spirits or trophies. There will be thousands of pages you'll collect consisting of Nintendo characters, items, locations, and other interesting items of interest. Each NPDA entry contains a bio, a picture and a list of game appearances. Of course, some entries will be rarer than others, but aside from the entrees you unlock by leveling up, you can also earn PR when you unlock new entries. What is neat about NPDA entries is that you can also use them to customize visual portions of your Smash Tag. The Smash Tag was introduced in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but these new tags would be more customizable and more presented when you play online modes. These Smash Tags will essentially be icons that represent you when you see graphics like leaderboards, tournament brackets, round-robin pools and other pre- and post-match menus. When you unlock more NPDA entries, you have more options for customizing your Smash Tag from the character portrait, the background and other colors. Another part of your Smash Tag will be your message. This message consists of 3 phrases known as titles. These titles can consist of nouns, verbs, adjectives, exclamations, and other verbiage that relate to characters, moves, stages, technical experts, and more. You can unlock titles by reaching certain milestones from dealing damage to winning matches to the number of times you crouch to how long you crouch and so on. So for instance, you can unlock 4 titles for each character by winning 50, 100, 200 and 400 matches. So if you do these achievements with Samus, you get Orphan, then Bounty Hunter, then the Entrusted One, and then finally, Samus. You can unlock titles, so you can create a unique message such as, Samus, the Entrusted One, awakens. When looking for more PR, to reach the next personal level, the 2 ideal ways to farm it would be to either unlock more titles or play and win online tournaments. This is a system that encourages you to explore more of the game and play as more characters if you want to be a completionist. However, there is no definite level cap. 100 would be the initial level cap, and then that cap will lift with each major update to the game. For the first time in Smash Bros. History, you'll get unlockable costumes, called skins. Characters have the option to wear certain outfits, armor, and more in battle, rather than just their original outfit. Some character will have more skins than others, but each will have at least one. Some skins can also be different characters entirely. For instance, Lucina will be a Marth skin, Dark Pit will be a Pit skin, Wendy will be a Bowser Jr. skin, Alf will be an Alimer skin, 8 will be a Hero skin, and so on. I feel this is a better representation for some characters, rather than glorifying them with their own playable character slots. You will still be able to customize special moves and presets for characters with custom skins, so you can have a character as close to the original Lucina as possible. Along with unlocking new titles, new NPDA pages, and new skins, music will be another primary unlockable, albeit the rarest form of unlockable there is in the game. And certain series such as Punch-Out and Wario have been severely lacking in music for a while, but there will certainly be more than enough to go around. On the topic of music, you'll finally be able to create a playlist for menus involving any track. So if you want Lost Painting to play in the menus each time you start the game, you can do that. One last neat unlockable to share. For beating story mode while not losing a single character, you'll get what's called retro mode. When retro mode is turned on, many aesthetics will be replaced. The menu will change its theme to one that resembles the original one from Super Smash Bros. For the N64. During battles, online or offline, the HUD menu will also change to resemble the older N64 game. Sound effects will also be changed. You'll get the N64 sound effects when attacking enemies, and the voice clips will be lower in quality to make it feel like you're playing a retro fighting game. Online mode would be much more robust compared to previous installments. There would certainly be an effort to make the online connectivity as reliable as possible. Stamina mode, damage mode and all your other multiplayer offerings are available for one-on-one, tag and free-for-all play. Taunting in ranked matches is back. I honestly didn't see any need to remove it. It only proved the director wants to parent gamers. Sakurai makes them quicker and less punishable, which doesn't make sense considering he does away with them for online play. Make them normal speed and as long as they're originally intended for, like Toon Link's conductor taunt. And you can dare players to try taunting at the expense of getting hit. There are a few game modes that are exclusive to online play, and I feel they are both pretty esports centric. One is a team mode, and the other is a free-for-all of up to 8 players. The first is called Simul Squad Strike. You're in a team facing off against another team, but the battles consist of simultaneous one-on-one fights. You beat the other player, you score a point for your team. There are as many rounds as there are team members, with the winning team having more points overall at the end of the final round. The second is called Grand Prix mode, and it takes a lot of inspiration from Mario Kart. 8 players battle on 4 stages, and you score points based on how well you rank with each battle. Get the most points to win. Both of these modes have items turned off, by default of course. Both of these modes I feel would make for fun ways to farm PR and pass time. Online tournaments return, so you can still partake in them. In addition to traditional bracket tournaments, you can also partake in round-robin tournaments where you start out in a group and face each member of your group one by one. If you do well, you advance to the bracket stage, and if not, you're out, but at least you get to fight in at least 3 battles. Spectate is overhauled. You can watch matches from either the network or the top 10. Network allows you to watch matches endlessly like in the spectator mode we have now. But rather than betting on who wins, instead you'll watch the match, and afterwards, you'll be able to approve or disapprove it. Approving the match gives it a like or vote so to speak, in which it makes it more likely for other spectators to come across the match when they watch the network. Disapproving the match makes it less likely for others to see it, such as if it's very boring or the players don't take the match seriously. Top 10 is self-explanatory. You watch the most approved 10 matches of the week, and you can view them in any order you prefer. There are titles for being involved in a top 10 match, so players definitely shouldn't overlook spectator mode. For DLC, not only will character packs include the character, the stage and some music, but it will also include whatever items and assist trophies are also from that character's series. So for instance, Kung Lao's hat would be part of the Scorpion pack. There won't be any price increase for packs with extra content than other character packs. Skin packs will be available as DLC, and these will be exclusive skins that you cannot unlock in the game. Each pack will consist of an assortment of skins for various characters and cost $5 each. The outfits will continue to the DLC. The thing is though, unless there are characters from series already being represented in Smash Bros. They won't return as Mii outfits for this next game, unless they can be acquired for cheap. The Altair outfit for example, I'm not quite sure why you would pay for a character's likeness all to only use it for DLC that only costs $1 or around that. I just don't get that. If you're going to pay to use Assassin's Creed content, make a full-fledged character, or just you're wasting money. And since we don't have an Assassin's Creed character on the roster, we're not going to waste money unless there's a reachable milestone to make a profit. Additional music packs will also be available for DLC. Each pack will be from the same series, so there will be a Mario pack, a Zelda pack, and Sonic the Hedgehog pack on top of new music already added in the base game. Each pack will also have 8 tracks and cost just $1. Like all the other music, they can be added to custom stages, their own stages, as well as for menus. So for Amiibo, I don't have a comment on Amiibo functionality, and I have the impression that while they're still being made to this day, it's going to die out in the future. Printing brand new figures for each character would be awesome, but there will certainly be stock issues like there have been with when they originally released. And with that concludes the outline of the next Smash Bros. So let's recap everything. The roster would be smaller compared to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and frankly, there are over 30 characters that the product could do without, for reasons being that the manpower could go towards other aspects of the game. Not to worry though, because counting Daisy and Dark Samus, there would be a total of 17 newcomers and a robust, respectable 71 characters overall. Customization would be a major part of the product, where characters can have one of various preset statistics to modify their performance on the battlefield, as well as selectable special moves. Certain characters will also gain abilities to fly or climb walls. Each character will have its own stage. Final Destination and Battlefield will also return, with several extra stages coming back with these versions only. Many stages will also have night and day variations. Custom stages also return, and players can also create their very own Break the Target stages. Both types of stages can be uploaded for others to play on. Several new game modes will be available online and offline. A new stamina mode as well as damage mode will be part of the new basic battle modes. Character tutorial would be a new mode that teaches players how to effectively battle with each specific character. Online mode will see a revamped spectator channel, as well as a better online netcode and tournaments. Story mode will focus on an exploration aspect segmented into cutscenes and chapters. More of the large world is accessible to the player as more characters become unlocked. Unlockables consist of Nintendo lore, music, outfits, and online profile items. There is a universal progression system that fills with every bit of action that the player experiences. DLC consists of 7 of the 17 newcomers, new music and new outfits, and possibly more. And wow, it was great to be able to write up an entire package like that in 5 parts. I can certainly see a big difference from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate to not only make it a sequel, but a significant improvement in terms of game modes and gameplay alike. I do not expect any of this to happen at all. But thank you for being part of this journey with me.
Oh no, it's still behind me! It's still behind! It's still behind! Let's go! Let's go! Oh my god!
If you're not playing Tekken, what are you doing?